into it. Hello, everyone. So great to be here with you. Please, could you introduce yourself to our followers? Tell us how long you've been with the Lego Group and what's your favorite part of working with the Lego Group.
Hi, everybody. My name is Huang. I'm a senior model designer in the Lego Icons team, and I've been with the team for 3 years now. Favorite part about the Lego Group, I think I came from the fan background, so to me, having fun is very important, and I think I was able to do that here. Like, I think going to work every day is no big deal to me. It's just going to the toy shop and play around with bricks. So that's really
Incredible. Thank you. So please, could you introduce this model, talk us through it, and yeah, I'll leave it up to you.
So yeah, here we have the next modular. It's called the shopping street. Um, we started this model by choosing the layout. As I mentioned before, I think this is the combination of many studies that we've done in the past, but this one we took it into the next level with a very interesting ways of putting the building next to each other. One of the key features we want to keep is the alley. As you see, it's going through. Uh, I grew up in an alley, not this small, of course, but it was quite interesting scenario to capture here in Lego form. So we knew from the start that we want to have a feature, and all this angle actually comes from as a result of trying to keep that alley and have it going through and bring the storytelling from the front to the back. Um, and this is just a basic layout that I want to point out that all of this actually we've seen it before in the boutique hotel, but this one is actually two buildings in one, and we were able to fit it in the 32 by 32 base plate, and going from grid to an angle, and then come back to grid within that base plate is quite an interesting challenge.
And could you talk us through the technique side and the process? Like, was it a lot of trial and error? Did you use any mathematical triangles to get those working?
Yeah, I think a lot of fans in the communities knows about this sort of technique already, right? We have the reflected triangles, which internally that's what we use to sort of figure out the layout. We has the introduction of the new pill shapes plates. Recently, we expanded into different lengths, so that's opened up a lot of doors to us. And there's hinge point. Both building has two hinge points, so they sort of, if you could imagine, there's a triangle here, and then there's triangle on the other side, so they sort of hinge on one another. So if you draw a line here, you have very symmetrical line that go connect between the two hinge point. Same as here as well. So pretty much if you can draw it out, it's actually very straightforward.
Wow, amazing. And focusing on the models and the interiors, the shops we've going, can you talk us through the different shops and what led to those decisions being made?
Yeah, so on this side, we have the music shops, and we have our characters comes in to buy their musical instruments for the first time to join their marching band. And for the first time, we have the twins girls in this model, and then they goes in, and we actually when we designed the music shop, I think one of the first concept that we did was the sousaphone, which is a very impressive instrument that wraps around the body. So the minifigures has to be able to fit in there, and I think once we achieved that, we knew that the rest could come, right? And so all of these instruments are sprinkled around the ground floor and the first floor on this side of the building.
Very good.
On this side, we have the furniture shops. We have the carpenter lady, she's right here, but she sells her creation down here. We have varieties of different ways of building furniture. I think as a modular fans, I think anybody would know that we try to use element in very interesting way to design different chairs, different tables. So this is our chance to really showcase that.
Yeah. Which one of you is your favorite out of all of those chairs if you had to pick one?
I have to pick one. It's really tough. I would say I love the flipper chairs, not just because of the colors, but I think it brings new light to that element that we don't really use that too much, right? I'm talking about the flippers.
Yeah.
But we have what we call the sausage chair because obviously there's a sausage there. It's very interesting curvy design that you can find in many of the mid-century Danish design, right? So there's a lot of pullback into the history of not only design but furniture as well.
Did you make a lot of different chairs? And these were the few selected, or you finished them and were like, these are the ones?
Oh, of course, we made a lot of them,
Yeah.
and I think everybody chipped in and trying to find their way of making haven't seen before chair. But something that we've seen a lot of is this guy, the classic,
Indeed, yeah.
yeah, the classic Lego chair, and yeah, it's actually part of the storytelling. So that chair, you also see it again here on the decals. So it's a sail, and there's a little bit of graphic of drawing of the chair on there. So she has way too many of that chair. As you might see, we use it so many times in so many other models as well. So she's just really trying to get rid of it. And actually, she just has so many that you can find one in the dumpster.
That's brilliant. I always love those little Easter eggs and those story threads that go throughout the modular. So this is a really fun one.
Thank you. And of course, we have the pathway to just bring you out into the back, and you see that. And then there's another story that happened on the back, which is quite special for this model. So we have the plumber that I would love to introduce you to. So what is he doing there? He got called in by the lady to fix the broken pipe. So you can see there's a little bit of
like a bandage, right?
Yeah, it's a bandage that you put on the minifigure's hand, but we were able to use that as sort of a quick fix.
Like duct tape, just slapped on.
Just slap it on, and
that's brilliant.
He called it a day. But he doesn't know the real problem lay underneath the pathway. So if you look closer, you can see there's water spilling all over underneath the sidewalk. Over here, that is the flame element, but then it's in transparent blue, so it means that water is just gushing out of the pipe, and it's actually going into the shop. It's damaging the wooden floor. So you will see that in a bit. And what happened there is this guy is the thief. He's stealing that pipe, so he's causing trouble.
That is so clever. Yeah, I can see that's the black pipe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, he is the troublemaker, but nobody knows that yet. The plumber thinks he is doing a great job.
It's clear you've had so much fun with this model. You talked about earlier how the pet shop was that one of your first sets?
One of the first modular sets.
Okay.
It's actually brought me back from the dark age.
Wow, incredible. So when developing this, it's you talked about how it's got those different angles. I think it fits really well with the Tudor corner. In terms of architectural style, we had a lot of questions about this from our audience in terms of like, how do you decide on the era, the architectural style? Is it something you play around with a lot? You're trying to maybe take off all the different architectural ones. You've got lots of ideas. Can you talk me through that process of how you land on this design?
I think when it comes to style, I think it's designers, whoever leads the project, can really influence it. For me, I had a trip to cities that I love. One of them is Copenhagen. I think a lot of that influenced me. It's actually the city has small corner like that, and really I took a lot of picture, and I think a lot of that detail and the vibe and all that sort of the way that people use those spaces influence this model. But it's actually not very specific in the way that you can tell this is where it's from. So that's the beauty of the modular buildings. They all belong in one timeline, and it's happened around the same time. So it can't just be too recent or too old. Even though there's style that can change, but then they sort of belong to the same period in a way. So we have to keep that very consistent.
Yeah, fantastic. And in terms of how you capture architectural style, I noticed some really fun part uses. Could you talk us through some of those and which ones you love the most?
I love different ways of building windows. It's like this window, for example, I think it started out as a door at the entrance actually. So this one was the entrance point to go into the shop, but then we moved away from it because we thought it would be too close to the edge at that point. So we want to move the door where it would be it would give more meaning to the play value and also the storytelling. So we moved it to the side. So that gave us a chance to sort of have fun with this. And I think somebody mentioned that it's a perfect place to put in that round element. And I think it works really well. And also we figure out the technique element happens to come in this color, and it works really well as the two columns on the sides. And then we also repeat it next to the entrance as well, so that works really well. You can see the decorated elements here. These are the window on the sides as well. So and this one, the treatment is actually comes in the graphic form because we want to give it a lot of details, which is we can't do with the regular bricks.
That's great to see.
And then moving up to this floor, on this side, we have a dumpling element.
So I have not spotted that. Yeah, you can just about see that.
Yeah, wow, so it's a food element, but then if you use it in the right way and in the right color, it blends in very well. So it's not meant to be something that stands out a lot, right? So but once you build it, you realize that it's actually a dumpling element. Wow. So you can have 3 of them on the facade. And this geometry, I think your fans from Tips&Bricks really appreciate it. So we have the arch, the wheel arch, and also the what we call the espresso element here. So that cutout on top, it fits just over the wheel arch. So it's like geometry. I don't think they're meant to work together, but I think we found a way to make them work.
Very satisfying.
A little bit of a detail that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And of course, usage of this Lego elf element, I believe, in different ways to give it more of a little bit of details on the large opening window. And of course, I would like to point out this new bar element that has a very interesting connection point. It has on the side, on the tube side here, actually there is a connection point, and it is connected to a feather element. So you can create sort of a window trim on the very top.
Wow, incredible. Really amazing work. Yeah, because I think we first saw those in the F1 mini set. So it's great to see them in this set. Talked about some of the techniques and showing us the parts. In terms of recolors, are there any ones that you are excited to include in here? Are there any recolors?
Yes, so we have these two recolors elements comes in this set for the first time in dark blue. I think people will find it very interesting to have them in this color, and they can build. I'm using it as the roof top here, but you can use it many other ways. Maybe you can make a dome for a wheel arch or something, perhaps for a car. We have a pigeon in white for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's actually a 2K mold, which means this black beak, eyes, and the graphic on the sides are actually plastic, molded plastic. Wow. So yeah, you won't have to worry about it getting scratched. Come in purple for the first time, the Shaco hats, and of course on top of that is the decos. That is a callback to villains. If you know anything about villain, right? There's a marching band from Legoland, and then this is the villain crest that we bring back from the town hall way back, and it comes with a uniform that you will have a pair from this one, and you can have all these instruments here that you can build up your marching band.
That's a great tie back to Billings.
Yeah, and then we have some detail element that we needed in this color to just really polish it up the facade.
Brilliant. So, are there any stickers?
No stickers.
No stickers.
Yeah.
People will be glad to hear that.
And of course,
yes.
we try to bring back.
Even more excited for this.
Yeah, I think many fans that are into modular building will be very excited to see these elements to appear back again, right? So the split bricks and also the 1x8 and sand greens was in the Green Grocer, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
We landed on the colors, and this long brick I think was really needed because we want to have a good viewing experience for the wall and also give it a lot of strength. Same with this one as well. So on this side we landed with dark orange, and I think it's really helped with reinforce the wall, especially with the crazy angle here. And then this one really add onto the facades textures on this on the bottom here underneath the window. So they all had a place in this model.
Incredible. I'm sure people will be thrilled to see those back because one of the biggest questions we got was, would you ever re-release modulars? Could you speak to that? Is that something?
I think, yeah, I don't know if we could comment on that. I think it's just something that I know the fan would love, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately.
I'm sure you've got lots of ideas for what you new modulars, right? And you want to focus on those.
Of course. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, I love the color scheme you've chosen. Sand green is one of my favorite colors. Could you talk me through that process? How early do those get set? Do you play around with those a lot and test out different colors and see people's reactions?
Yeah, so we actually, this is one of many iterations that we had. It's something that we do studies when it comes to colors, and we'll put the color choices next to each other and then also next to the previous modular buildings.
Yeah.
And the Tudor corner is a very colorful, very fabulous looking building. So to come off of that, we want to have something sort of a little bit muted, right? So to give space, just to differentiate them a bit more. So we landed on something that's on overall, it's set on the more of a neutral color scheme, but then have moment here and there really spark conversations, colors on the flowers, on the details, on the flags, and really have fun with the colors on the characters. But on the ground floor, there's highlights that we want to call out. So we want to have interesting and fan favorite colors that people would love to have again. So we focus a lot of striking color choices on the ground floor, but then on the upper floor, we're leaning towards details and interesting building techniques, ways of using the elements to really tell the story.
Fantastic, thank you. You touched on before that the architectural style is kind of determined by yourself as the designer. In terms of selecting the kind of topic, is that also down to the designer, or what other factors do you consider when you're considering what buildings to make?
What do you mean topic? Do you mean the story?
So is in like shops or services or what's kind of in the building?
Yeah, I mean definitely the designer can influence a lot of that. That's the beauty of doing a modular building. But of course you have to go through all the design meetings, and of course the team has to be, it has to feel okay, and it has to fit within the rest of the lineup. So there are a lot of discussions around it when it comes to stories and what type of building and the architectural style.
And talking about stories, what is your favorite callback to a previous modular that you've included in this set?
Definitely the crest for me. I think it's a chance for us to celebrate Dylan one more time. But speaking of callbacks, I can show you. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there is a callback to the history of Lego. So on this on this floor, on this corner here, there is that duck.
Yes, the classic duck that everyone loves.
Yeah, that's where it started. So I think it's a callback that we really want to have it in here. Since this is a furniture shop, and this is a workshop where they design and make the product. So yeah.
Amazing. We've covered a lot of area. I do have a few more questions, but first, is there anything we've not covered that you're really passionate about and you'd like to talk about?
There's one hidden thing I don't think you've seen it.
Okay, yeah,
So I like to
please
point
show
it
me.
out. If I take this off, open it up. So there's a room that someone is living there.
I wonder who's in
cheese.
there
Yeah, so,
with the cheese.
yeah, so a little bit of an Easter eggs.
Fantastic. I also noticed you've got a toilet in the second floor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Have we had a toilet in most modulars? Do you always try and include one, or does it depend on space?
I think it's really up to the project leads that what goes in where. I think we know that fan loves having a toilet.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think one of my colleagues, she's a fan of building this silly toilets from France model. She came from France, and she knows that from her studies that toilet is just like, it's just something that people just having so much fun doing. So I included that in there, and it's a very interesting place to put a toilet.
Right for everyone to see. People can easily look in, can't they? Incredible. Could you talk us through your own background with the Lego Group and how you landed on the modular set? Because I can imagine that a lot of designers are keen to work on this property. So could you talk us through that, please?
So my personal background, like I've been with the team for 3 years. I actually have different specialties in the team. I usually deal with model that has complex functions. I think when I came out of that last project, it was another complex mechanism. So to put my mind at ease, I just did some concept sketches for aesthetic, nice looking buildings, and somehow it got chosen to go through some gates, and I ended up to be designing it. So it was a fun thing to do after many other challenges.
That's a really great story and very interesting that you sketched them out. But yeah, you've clearly got a very technical background. I think was it the prize machine?
Yes.
The mechanism for that?
Yeah, so I did the mechanism for the prize machine. Also, I worked on the landing gear for the Boeing 747 model. So yeah, I usually lend myself within the team to solve some challenges here and there. And something that I really look forward to is to have a balance between the technical challenges and aesthetic. So I think this model just arrived to me at the right moment.
Yes.
It's just perfect.
Amazing. And final question for you. Could you talk us through, give us an overview of your design process?
So it's different from one project to another. When you talk about the more of a function-driven products, I usually start with figuring out what it can do, how to package it into a form factor that we agree on. So lots of experimenting with functions. So a lot of physical building. But for example, this model actually there is less technical difficulty. But besides that, of course.
Yes.
But once we figured that out, I did most of the work in 3D, and then kind of like easier for me to move stuff around and change the color here and there. So it's more of a aesthetic focus and more of a aesthetic driven process rather than functional. So yeah, it could be both way, but it really depends on the project.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much, Juan. I really appreciate your time. I'm sure our viewers will as well. Thank you.
Yeah.